4 minutes ago, I saw the 5-minute sign go up.
What?
Yes,
We haven't started.
I know we haven't started, and we could come back another time, but you and I both have aeroplanes to catch. And we... Oh, he's got 15 more minutes. Yes, now it all makes sense. I have to go, and
but look what's going to happen. You're going to say, you have to go and I'll stay, and half the audience leaves with you. How do you think I feel?
Impossible. But it just does give a formal balance to the event, given that I was here for 15 minutes alone.
Yeah, but I was taking pictures. People wanted to have pictures with me, and I didn't want to disappoint them. I wasn't late. I was working. You're up on an airplane.
I know. Yeah. Well, that is the brutal truth. But I have one thing to add to what you were saying before I have to leave, and that is that I will never forget that moment. Somewhere halfway up Mount Whitney, do you remember where we shot that?
When we were walking up
that
there.
scene, when I had to stand on the very edge of a clearing where there was a house and a man chopping wood to one side of the house. And the man chopping wood was James T. Kirk, and the actor playing him was William Shatner. And we were doing a big master shot of my arrival walking into this scene. You look at me as though you have no recollection. And I stood way over there, not believing that I was about to shoot a scene with a living legend. It both unnerved me and at the same time thrilled me in the same way that it used to thrill me in the occasional moments when I would share a glance with Vivian Leigh on stage. So that's what it meant to me.
So Patrick, sit down! That'd be awful. I mean, imagine how I would feel, right? Like all those people over there going, okay, time to leave, and they go, okay. People are filing out, and then one guy is, it's okay, Bill, how many people? It's called a coda in music. I'm the coda. What he didn't tell you, what he didn't tell you in his English voice was that we had a day in which we were going to ride horses. We had this horse sequence. And maybe you don't know, but I love horses and I'm totally involved in horses. I ride competitively, I drive horses fast. Competitively. I mean, I'm really into horses. I've done 25-mile endurance rides, and I know from past experience, having done westerns and things like that your legs get raw when you ride horses a lot. Just the rubbing, the fraying. So I said to Patrick, this is what, because he wasn't a horseman. And so I said, Patrick, you're going to need to wear women's nylons, pantyhose. Patrick, you're going to need to wear, he says, what? I said, pantyhose to stop the fray. He says, wearing pantyhose? Wearing pantyhose? I'm a Shakespearean actor. I said, it'll stop you from bleeding in your boots, which is what happens when you do an endurance run. He says, all right. So he goes into his dressing room, because the management handed us pantyhose. And I go in, I put my pantyhose on, and I put my costume on, the black pants and the tight shirt and all that. And I walk outside, and Patrick is walking outside at the same moment. And he's got his pantyhose on the outside. He said one day, I said, want a cup of tea? And I said, oh, I love tea. Can you make me a cup, Patrick, in an English way? He said, yes. I'm going to teach you how the English drink their tea. You see the black tea? See breakfast tea? See the oolong? You put black tea with the oolong, and that's how the English drink their tea. I said, that's it? That's it? Nobody knows that secret. Now you know oolong and black English tea. He's a sensational actor. He's just one of those guys that are so rare that move up slowly through the ranks, gaining experience and talent, and so he some people missed exactly what I said, didn't they? What did you say? The screen went blank there for a moment. Okay, I'll take the question over here. Notice the way I'm moving. I broke my leg exactly 6 weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I ride these. I ride show horses that are animated and rack and gallop, and I ride reiners, and they slide to a stop, and they slide, and they turn, and I'm riding an English pleasure horse. All right? Walk, jog, and lope. English, Western pleasure horse, just a Western. I took my hat off to wipe my brow, and the horse whipped around, flung me to the ground, and I broke my leg. And this is my 6th week, and I'm just sort of like, and the body binds itself, the muscles stiffen up, and nature splints your leg. You're broken. Before they knew what splints were, you couldn't move it because it was so stiff. The muscles are splinting for about 5 weeks while the bone gets together, and then all of a sudden the muscles relax, and by the 6th week you're feeling better, and I'm feeling better. Watch, I'll fall off this and break my other leg. Okay, I can't see up there, so okay. Question: what do I think of Chris Pine? He's too friggin' young, you know what I mean?
Good representation of him
and young and rich. He is so good. He's so talented. You know, J.J. Abrams discovered the secret when we made those early movies. When in the Star Trek, I don't know, call it classical side. In the first Star Trek, we were given $30 million to make a movie. It's a lot of money, and the movie's made about $90 to $100 million. There's a rule of thumb in the making of movies. The movie has to make 3 times what it costs in order to pay off. First of all, there's the original payment of $30 million, then there's all the advertising and prints is $60 million, and then there's something else that's added. So by the time they've made $100 million, the studios made some money on their investment. So it had to have made about $90 to $100 million, which is exactly what it did. It made a little money for the studio. So they decided about the 6th movie that I was in, that the Next Generation, which was so popular, so much more popular than the series I was in, would make movies, and they would break through that $100 million barrier. So they hired all these guys and paid them a lot more money than they paid us. They spent more money on it, and it didn't make any more than $100 million. So then they stopped making the movies, and then they asked J.J. Abrams to make the first of these modern movies. And he knew the answer. And the answer was to make it a ride, to give it the pizzazz that all these other science fiction films had. And so that's what he's done. What are they grossing? $400 or $500 million. They're a great success because of J.J. and Chris Pine and that wonderful group of actors. And, I said to Leonard Nimoy, you know you're old when you go back in time and you're still old.
Oh yeah. Oh, come on. Give it up for the back in
Anyway, so they're coming out with a new movie in 16. I'm actively, I've gone to, it's called a pitch, where you go to a network and you say, I'd like to do this, and you pitch an idea, and then they mull it over for about 2 years. So I'm pitching the 50th anniversary show of Star Trek. I pitched to 2 networks, and they both said, we want to do it. And then I was sent some newspaper clippings just a day or two ago, because this was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that they said, both of them said, I want to do it. Clippings of the president of that network who met with me and said, I'm doing this, I want to do it. Let's start. I mean, it was like that. I'm doing it, that's great, I want to do it. He's got another job.
Oh no.
He's left the network, so I don't know where that. That's what I said. Star Trek will go on because of this wonderful cast and director. 2016 will see the next iteration of that movie, and I'm sure that other ways of entertaining the audience with Star Trek will happen as well, all very soon. I know it because of J.J. Abrams, I would think. Another question in the center here. Yes, go ahead. Nice and loud. Captain.
Can you tell me
Can I tell you
what show?
what show?
Something that is out right now that you're like, I need to keep up with it. I need to.
There's some show that's out there right now that I got to keep up with, and the DIY network is. You think I'm kidding? She wants me to, I was telling the truth to Patrick about I haven't seen any other Star Trek show. I've never seen another, just hit my tooth. I haven't seen any other Star Trek. I saw one movie on television. I just don't do that. I don't watch our television. I watch news. I'm a newsaholic. I watch sports. I watch movies. But I don't watch hourly or half-hourly television. So I don't, like Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
So I kept hearing that they talk about Star Trek and me and on the Big Bang Theory. I've never seen it. But I've been in front of an audience like this, and the audience would say, why aren't you on the Big Bang Theory? And I'd say, well, I don't do half-hour shows. How many do you think I should be on the Big Bang? And the whole audience would rise up, yeah, be on the Big Bang. So I called the producer, whose name I can't remember. Is there any name?
Chuck Lorre?
Chuck Lorre. Jeez. That's a little frightening. We're going to get back to him. So I called Chuck Lorre. Chuck, oh yeah. You want me on the show? Yeah, we'd love to have you. Well, write me a good part. Never did. So that I don't know. I don't watch television that way, but I would love Peyton Manning. If I could follow Peyton Manning around, does that answer your question at all? Actually, I've got a reality show with my wife in which we're redoing our house. The DIY Network is redoing our house. It starts October 23rd. It's really funny, and this whole transformation takes place. I live in what was a hunting cabin by some guy that discovered Los Angeles or something, and it was this hunting cabin in the 1900s, and a lot of parties took place there. And now, many years later, I take over the house, and then every time something changes in my life, I rebuild the house, because the house is on a hill, and you can see the sunset over there and sunrise over there. No, the sunrise would be over there, and the sunset would be over there. So it's got a beautiful location. I kept changing the house, but the last time I changed it was about 20 years ago. So everything's a little old and used, especially me. and my wife kept saying, God, we need new appliances, because she'd open the oven door and it would squeak. So the DIY Network said, we'll help you with your house if you want to. So we've done 6, maybe 7.5 hours of refurbishing our house, which is really quite exciting, to have your house destroyed and then resurrected in a moment. So that'll be October 23rd. But other than that, a new comic book coming out on a novel I wrote called Man of War. Man of War comics, but a whole different way of looking, a television way of looking at comic books. The best I can explain it at the moment, because I don't want to go any further, it debuts at the New York Comic Con in October as well. So a new comic book on Man of War, and a whole new way of looking at comics, I think. I'm helping design a motorcycle, which is going to be absolutely new. A motorcycle that doesn't exist right now, the kind of motorcycle. And when we finish it, it's being made by American Wrench, which is a traditional motorcycle company in Chicago. When it's done, and we sell some, and other people will all, next late spring, out of Chicago, drive to Los Angeles in the motorcycle, raising funds for charity. We'll do Route 66, Chicago to Los Angeles, raising funds for children along the way. One last question. Yes? I'd just like to say,
not exactly a question, but
not exactly a question.
how much I love the character
How much I love the character of
Denny Crane.
Denny Crane. And what?
Every time I watch that character,
Every time you watch that character,
I never once thought of William Shatner
you never once thought of William Shatner
or Captain Kirk
or Captain Kirk.
Denny Crane.
or Denny Crane. You just thought Denny Crane. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. So much fun doing that for 5 years. I love doing the role. It was a great show. All kinds of awards, and I had the best time on. Next question. A question here, right there. Right here.
Yeah. You worked with James Spader.
I worked with James Spader.
At this point, you've never seen an episode of
I've never
Blacklist?
seen James in his new show. No.
Oh,
I know it's great. Isn't
he's
it?
incredible.
No, I mean it's great for him.
He's
He's incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know. Was he up for an Emmy?
I would imagine he would be.
You
I don't
would
know.
imagine he would be, but you don't know any more about it than I do.
No,
I would imagine, but he didn't win the Emmy, I guess.
I don't know.
No, okay. But he and Captain Janeway,
Kate Mulgrew.
Kate Mulgrew is doing this great.
Yes.
So you see, they're all moving on. And I'm doing something for DIY. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you being here. I love Toronto. I love the fact that you're here.
Woo! Yeah, we love you too, Shatner. We love you too.
can't believe you've never seen the Blackwood.